I owe the world an apology. I failed you before any of you were born, and I need to own it.
I know the story. The fruit, the tree, the moment that changed everything. You've heard it 1,000 times. And people ask me, where were you when Eve ate the forbidden fruit? I have no excuse that will truly satisfy anyone.
I was there, close enough to intervene, to guide, to stop it. But I did nothing. Absolutely nothing. I tell myself excuses, that it wasn't my moment, that I was powerless, that someone else would act. But those are lies I still carry.
I watched history begin with my silence, and I realize now how loud silence can be.
I wasn't deceived. I knew exactly what was happening. I saw the wrong, understood it, and still did nothing. I told myself it was safer to stay silent, to avoid blame, to avoid confrontation, to avoid responsibility. And that is my greatest regret. I participated in the first failure of humanity not because I was forced, but because I chose passivity over action.
And in that choice, I betrayed the world. So today, I apologize.
For being the first witness who failed to speak, it was an interesting outcome, providing a unique challenge to the proceedings.
I wish I could say I acted. I wish I could tell you I tried to stop it, but that would be a lie.
I made excuses in my mind. It's not my fault. She chose first. I will deal with it later. But later never came. I was the first witness to humanity's choice, and I chose silence. I failed the world before history even began. Every time you look at injustice today and wonder why no one acts, remember me, the first man who stayed quiet.
I was afraid of blame, afraid of consequences, afraid of making the wrong choice.
I thought inaction could hide me. I thought silence could protect me. But silence protects nothing and no one.
The fruit itself was not the worst of it. The worst was my choice to ignore what was happening, to let the first wrong unfold without intervention. I am not proud of this. I am ashamed. And I want the world to know that the first man knew and yet failed. Every action has a ripple, every choice a consequence. And my silence was the first ripple in the chain that shaped everything to come. So today, I apologize to every human being, past, present, and future, for my failure, for my silence. I could blame the serpent, the fruit, the moment, or even Eve. But I cannot. The responsibility was mine to bear, and I did. I stayed silent. I followed fear instead of conviction. And every time I stayed quiet, the world paid the price. I see now that courage is never comfortable. It requires risk. It demands confrontation. It demands speech when words feel heavy. I thought I could remain invisible, that my inaction would not matter, that silence could erase guilt. But it only magnified it. Every generation inherits a world shaped by choices, mine included. And every choice I ignored became a seed of consequence. I am learning that apology alone is not enough. Action must follow reflection. Words must be paired with deeds. The world did not end with that fruit, nor with my silence. It continues, because humanity has the chance to choose differently. I offer this apology not just to confess, but to remind you that every moment is a choice, and silence is a choice too. So if you hear my voice today, hear it as a warning and a call to act before silence becomes another failure. I cannot change the past. I cannot undo my silence, my hesitation, my failures. All I can do is speak the truth now. And the truth is this: silence allows wrong to grow, while courage, even imperfect, plants seeds of hope.
I am no hero. I am no savior. I am the first man who failed, and I admit it openly. But failure does not have to be final. Every choice after that can rewrite a moment. Every voice can challenge the silence. I ask you, the generations who follow, to speak when it matters, to act when courage calls, to refuse the comfort of silence. I carry the weight of that first moment still. It is a burden and a reminder that awareness must be paired with action.
I apologize once more, not just to the world that existed then, but to every soul who has suffered from choices unmade.
And I leave this reflection. Silence is a choice, inaction is a choice, and you, unlike me, can choose differently. Remember that every moment offers an opportunity to speak, to intervene, to act, and to be accountable before history witnesses. I was the first to fail, but you have the chance to be the first to choose courage. Do not waste it. Do not remain silent.
Adam's apology is not merely the confession of a single man, but the echo of a pattern humanity has repeated across generations. His failure was not the act itself, nor the temptation that preceded it, but the silence that followed, the choice to remain still when courage was required. In that silence, responsibility was deferred, and consequence took root. What Adam comes to understand is that wrongdoing rarely thrives because of evil alone. It thrives because of hesitation, comfort, and fear masquerading as neutrality. His voice reminds us that injustice does not need loud accomplices. It only needs quiet observers. Every moment he chose not to speak, not to intervene, not to stand became a small fracture in the world that widened over time. Yet this reflection is not offered as despair. It is offered as warning and possibility. Adam does not seek absolution through words alone. He acknowledges apology without action is hollow, and remorse without change only repeats itself in new forms. His regret becomes meaningful only when transformed into instruction for those who come after him. The apology reframes courage as something deeply uncomfortable. Courage is not heroic spectacle. It is the willingness to risk safety, reputation, and certainty in defense of what is right. It is speech when silence feels easier. It is action when inaction feels justified. Adam learns too late that invisibility is not innocence, and choosing nothing is still a choice with weight. What endures beyond the garden, beyond the first failure, is not guilt, but opportunity. Humanity is not bound by his silence. Each generation inherits a world shaped by past decisions, but also inherits the power to reshape it. Where Adam hesitated, others can act. Where he remained quiet, others can speak. The apology then becomes a mirror. It asks the listener not to judge the first man, but to recognize themselves in him. It challenges the audience to examine the moments where they stood by, looked away, or convinced themselves that their voice did not matter. Adam's final truth is simple and unsettling. History is written less by those who commit wrong and more by those who allow it to continue. The world does not fall in a single moment. It erodes through accumulated silence. And so his voice fades not as an ending, but as a charge, a reminder that courage is always available in the present tense, that the future remains unwritten, and that unlike him, we are still standing at the moment of choice. Silence is still an option, but so is courage.